In this video today, we're talking about the 32 pounds of gear, food, and water in this pack for 5 days of backpacking in the Sierra Mountains of California. This will be my first time ever backpacking in the Sierra, and I am so stoked. Even though this is the trip that is replacing our canceled Uinta Highline through hike. And so I'm excited. I am genuinely stoked to get out into a brand new place that I've never seen before and experience new things. And the gear that I've got in the pack is important to making sure that that experience is positive for me, because I've got a couple of pieces of gear that I have never used on the trail before. It'll make sense once I open things up here, but let's dig into this full gear loadout for that 5 days of backpacking, 60 miles of walking on the John Muir Trail in the Sierra. Let's do it. Let's first talk about the pack that I am planning to use for this trip. What this is the Hyperlight Mountain Gear Unbound 40, which I was a bit nervous about whether or not this was going to work, because inside of the pack I've got a Bear Vault 475 bear can that is that brand new piece of gear that I have never carried on a trip before. And the fact that this pack has all of my gear plus the bear can inside and a little bit of room to spare is fantastic. I'm excited about that. But this pack I've been wanting to try for a long time. It just has intrigued me with some unique design elements to it, but also being a lightweight pack that comes in at 30 ounces for the size medium that I have here. Now, a big goal for me with my backpacking is to be as lightweight as I can be, but also not sacrifice comfort in that process as well. And I think I've accomplished that with this gear loadout. So let's start with the big 4 items first. What I have is the Hyperlight Mountain Gear Unbound 40 backpack, 40-liter size pack that is carrying all of this gear no problem, with a little bit of room to spare. My tent for the trip is the Tarp Tent Rainbow Lithium. This comes in at about 26 ounces of weight. It's a 1-person size single-walled Dyneema ultralight tent. I've got my stakes to go with it, and I'm carrying a little bit of extra cordage with this as well, because I'm anticipating that we're going to have to be setting up on some rocky areas where it's not going to be able to easily drive stakes into the ground. And so I'm bringing some extra cord to wrap around rocks or just make that pitching a little bit easier. I may need trekking poles in addition to the poles that come with it, so that I can utilize that fully freestanding option with the tent. I haven't decided if that is actually what I'm going to do, but if I do, I will bring my Durston Iceline trekking poles for that application. But I think this is going to be a great tent for that, and I love this tent. I love the weight of it, and really easy to pitch and good for areas where you need that versatility in the pitching. For my sleeping gear, what I've got is a 8-liter compression bag that has my Katabatic Sawatch 15-degree quilt inside of it. I'll pull it out here real quick, but this fits inside of this 8-liter compression really well. This is able to just get it into a small confined space and not take up more space than is necessary. But I've also got a pillow in here. I'll show you that in a second. But it just helps me maximize the space, and I find that it's worked out really well in that regard. So this is the Katabatic Sawatch 15-degree quilt. This thing weighs like 27 ounces. It's crazy lightweight, and it's supposed to be 15-degree comfort rated. Now, what's unique about this is I have not yet slept in this quilt, and so I don't have any experience with it. So it's one of those new pieces of gear that I've never carried before, but the Katabatic quilts have gotten a lot of praise, and I've had many people ask if I would check one out. So to get 5 nights of use with this in a row in like pretty like shoulder season-ish weather and conditions, I'm looking forward to it. So in addition to that, I've got my Franken pillow. This is the Quillo case from UGQ that has the air bladder and down topper from the Zenbivy soft top pillow. And this is a really cool like kind of Franken pillow, because the Quillo case comes with this strap that wraps around your sleeping pad. And it's also a touch lighter weight, even with this elastic strap on it, than the pillowcase that comes with the soft top pillow from Zenvivi. So that's pretty cool and pretty important to have when you are using with a quilt. For sleeping pad, the Nemo Tensor All Season. This should be just fine from a warmth standpoint with the over 5 R value on here to make sure that I sleep warm enough. The reason I'm carrying this is it is lighter weight than a lot of the other R5 pads that I have, and small pack size, and even though it's not the most comfortable pad in my opinion, it does the job, and so that is what we're using there. Now, something that I'm not looking forward to is this guy right here. This will be my first time ever carrying a bear canister on a backpacking trip. There is 10 pounds of weight here. It's about 8 pounds of food with 2 pounds for the bear can, and my goodness, packing this thing was not fun, and I'm glad I mostly got it figured out, but I wasn't able to get all of my food in here, so we'll see how this goes. What I do have is also day one food that doesn't need to go in the bear can, so I got to make sure I eat all of this so that this annoying thing. I'm really not looking forward to having to use this, but it is replacing my need for a chair, because I'll just use this as a stool with my 1/8 inch foam pad that I can just set there on top. Those of you that use bear canisters a lot, tell me, are they really that bad? And then I've got my long handle titanium spoon and my insulated rehydration pouch from Big Sky International. And then for cooking, to actually cook the food in here, 100 gram canister, and then my Tokes 550 milliliter pot with my orange cup, and the Soto Amicus canister stove, and a little pack towel. And that is all of the cooking gear. But what needs to accompany the cooking gear is water. So the water that I will carry will be in 2 of these Mazama Migo water bottles. 2 of these so that I've got 2 liters of water capacity, and then my go-to water filter system, the Sawyer Squeeze with the Sawyer Collab Canuck Vecto X 2-liter water bag. So that gives me 4 liters of water capacity, but from my understanding and from looking at the map and everything, I'm not gonna have to worry about water availability whatsoever on this trip, but this is my go-to favorite way to filter water, and it's been the most reliable for me as well. Now, before I talk about the clothing and layers that are in my backpack, let's talk about what I'm carrying on my person or hiking with on my body, because it's all part of the same kit. It's all part of the whole system, if you will. So what I've got for my base layer is my favorite sun hoodie. This is the Outdoor Vitals Altitude Hoodie, just my favorite all-time lightweight, super comfortable, really reliable sun hoodie. Love this thing. The shorts that I'm gonna be wearing, because I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna wear shorts or pants, but the shorts will be the Outdoor Vitals Skyline UL. I think you can gather that I like the Outdoor Vitals apparel items. They're fantastic, but these shorts are great. They're super lightweight and just a really comfortable, breathable, nice short option. But if I am going to be wearing pants, which is all weather dependent and what the highs for the day are gonna be, I'm gonna wear the Livsin EcoTrek trail pants. I love these pants. They're just durable, strong, reliable, comfortable, and a really, really nice option. And I think my favorite hiking pant to date. Now for footwear, I've got a second pair of the Swiftwick Flight XT trail socks. Love those things. And then my shoes, you guys know it, the Danner Trail 2650. Just a really nice shoe that I have been wearing for, I think, 5 years now. And it's my go-to. I love these things. These are a fairly new pair that are also the mesh that will be a bit more breathable for just those longer days on trail. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, lastly, something that is actually really important to me that I don't talk about very often is the watch that I'm wearing on my wrist. Now, I wear a watch every single day, and what I've been wearing every single day for, I think, close to a year at this point is this Coros Apex 2 Pro watch, which I absolutely love this thing. It's comfortable, it gives me all of the information that I need, and it is a fantastic trail watch. Now, Coros did send me a new watch that I'm gonna be testing and then share with you guys, and that is the Coros Nomad, a more rugged, more outdoor focused watch versus their other offerings. And in my short time with this so far, this thing is cool. It is a bit more bulk than what I've got here from the Apex, but not by a huge amount. But I like the ruggedness of it. Really nice, like hardened glass and a really nice display. But the thing that I love the most about the Coros watches is the battery life. This thing will go for close to 3 weeks of time of just normal everyday use without having to be recharged. But what I love is I get up to 50 hours of GPS tracking time with the watch, which I'm not gonna be spending 50 hours of time over a weekend tracking my route. So it more or less gives me everything I need battery-wise without ever having to really recharge it for the trips and everything that I am going on. But a couple other things that are important to me with this watch is the ability for me to really pay attention to my heart rate, but then I also get all of the other information, barometric pressure, as well as altitude and what my kcalories are, steps for the day, and just really effective mapping or tracking with this as well because it is a GPS watch. Now next up here is all of the clothing and layers that I'm taking on the trip. And for this being a 5-day long trip, I am carrying an extra layer for me to sleep in and change into while I'm out there, as opposed to just sleeping in my sun hoodie that I will be wearing. I just want something that'll be a bit more fresh and not so stinky and sweaty and nasty while I'm out there. So the shirt that I'm carrying that is an extra layer that I typically wouldn't carry is this Turn shirt from Outdoor Vitals. Just something lightweight that will make it so that I am able to sleep a bit more comfortable, and it's really lightweight and doesn't take up much space at all. Got an extra pair of underwear. Obviously, gonna want that for just changing into, and then an extra pair of socks. These are the Swiftwick Trail XT. I think that's what they're called, socks that I've been using for several years at this point. And then a pair of thermal bottoms. These are from Smartwool. They're a 150 weight thermal bottom. And I've been using this pair for, I think I've had these for 8 years, maybe going on 10 years at this point. This has been in my kit for a long time, and I love those things. They've just worked out really well. Now for layers, I have the Outdoor Vitals Tusher rain jacket. This jacket's awesome. It's lightweight and it does the job, and it just provides like that wind and rain protection. So obviously gonna bring that because we might expect some rain. And then a mid layer that I am so stoked that this is finally available. I've been sharing this layer on my channel for quite some time, and I haven't really been able to share a whole lot about it, but you guys have seen it, and that's the Pursuit Hybrid Hoodie from Outdoor Vitals. It's finally in its production form, and you can order it, you can get it. This thing is so awesome. And it comes in at about 9 ounces for this size medium. That's the Pursuit hoodie. Stoked that that is finally available. And then I did make a change to my insulation layer. I was gonna bring the Outdoor Vitals Vario jacket, but I wanna make sure I'm warm enough. Just wanna make sure that that is not a concern whatsoever. So I have my Arc'teryx Serum hoodie. It used to be called the Serum LT, but now it's just the Serum hoodie. It's a lightweight down insulated jacket. Then, last but not least, I will have some camp shoes. These are really cool. I want to point these out for a second. A very minimal, lightweight, simple sandal from Scott, who has the YouTube channel, The Ultralight Mindset, also on Instagram as The Ultralight Mindset. He is launching a website. Maybe it is available. I'll put it down in the description if you want to learn more about these. But these are awesome because simple camp shoes, they don't have really any bulk to them. So check these out. They're really cool. I've been testing them for quite some time. Now we got all these small, little tiny pieces of gear in all their individual little bags. But I'll start first with my Zoleo satellite communication device. I'm going on like 5.5 years of time using the Zoleo. Still love this thing. It just is one of those flawless, awesome, really good pieces of gear. But I want to point out something with this as well. There are more options coming out on the market, and lately I've been testing and using the T-Mobile T-Satellite communication straight from my iPhone. So I'm able to just text over I think it's through Starlink, but over satellite that way, as opposed to using the Apple native thing that goes through Globalstar. In addition to that, I have added some additional like protection or service to my time outside, and that is I got a subscription with Overwatch and Rescue, which is essentially a service that it's not an insurance necessarily, but it provides the ability for me to, in the event that I call search and rescue, I have some coverage and help with any potential expenses and things that would come with that. And it'll connect and use with my Zoleo as well as my phone, so I have double coverage of being able to call out search and rescue through them as necessary, and I'm excited about that service as well. Now I've got a little pocket knife, the Benchmade mini bug out. Sometimes I forget to bring this up in my gear loadouts. Let's talk about electronics first. In several of these bags, well, these are all bags that I make that are available on my website. This is the little ditty bag that is just a simple gusseted bottom bag that I have all of my electronics in. I've got the headlamp and battery banks. I've got my pad inflator and then charging cables, cords. I will also have all of my camera batteries in here also because I'm carrying my Sony, which I'm filming on right now, on the trip. First aid kit. This is also in a little ditty that I have everything from blister care to wound care to medications and everything I need from a first aid standpoint, as well as like Body Glide for chafing, Aquaphor, all that stuff. My poop kit. Now, something that I found on Amazon that I thought was pretty cool were these little packs of toilet paper that don't have the core in them. I could easily just wrap a bunch of toilet paper around as well, but this is actually really good toilet paper. I'll link it down. It doesn't rip easy. It's 2-ply, and I can trust it while I'm out there. This is my poop kit bag though, in a medium-sized flat zipper pouch that I have some wet wipes and my Dig and Rip from Hilltop Packs poop trowel, and then in a Human Gear Stacks container, some Summit Suds from Pika Outdoors. And that is everything that I've got in my poop kit. There are some wet wipes in there as well. Then here, I think this is the last. This is a small flat pouch, but this just has some hygiene stuff in it. I've got another small thing of toilet paper, and then I have my coupler for my water filter, my speed hanger from Apex Giant. These are also available on my website, but this just makes it so I can hang my backpack, or I can do an easy gravity filtering with my Sawyer into my Mazama bottles. Then I have sunscreen and toothpaste and toothbrush. Now, it might seem excessive to have all of these things in little individual bags, but I like the ability for everything to be contained in their own individual space so that it makes it easier for me to just grab what I need, pack it away into an easy space in my backpack, and it all works out really well. It adds weight and some bulk, I guess, to my pack, but I like it. It's easy and nice for me to be just organized that way. And my friends, that rounds out my entire 32 pounds of gear, food, and water for this 5 days of backpacking in the Sierra Mountains in California. We're doing 60 miles of hiking, a section of the John Muir Trail, and just doing a point-to-point trip with a shuttle in between, and I am so excited to share this adventure with you guys. It was a big bummer to have the Uinta Highline trip canceled. There was a fire that started that closed just a tiny portion of the trail. But that closure was enough to make the decision to cancel because it would involve a over 20-mile detour to go around on some other trails away from the Highline and miss some really key important parts of the Uinta Highline, even though it's only like 4 miles of trail of the 100+ miles of the Highline that you can hike. The western terminus, or the ending trailhead that we would be ending at, is also currently closed. So it didn't make sense to not do the full trail, as well as I'm not about to hike into a closure area. I think that's just not the right thing to do. So with that, we made plan B, and I'm really excited about it, to go do something brand new that I have never done before. So that's the gear. You're gonna see it in use on the trip, and there you go. Links for everything down in the description. I appreciate you guys watching today and supporting the channel. You're awesome. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.